Hello and welcome to This Is. Guys, I folded. Austin told me that I'm too set in my ways.
You are, okay, let me just go through a list of the things that Matt does that are very specific. Parks the same parking spot every day. Keeps to his routine to an unbelievable degree. And never embraces change. Which is fine, I understand. If you got your routine, it's all good. But my friend, sometimes you gotta shake it up a little bit.
All the time.
Name an item that you have changed on in like the last year.
Pass.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Okay, I had, said some hurtful, hateful things about Nintendo. Wait, no, sorry, that's just Force a Habit.
Wrong video.
Force a Habit. I said some things about the Z Fold, and he came back and said, put your money where your mouth is.
No, I didn't say that. I literally handed you a Z Fold and said, use this, and then tell me it's bad.
And then, so this is me telling him it's bad. I used it exclusively for 3 days, and that was as far as I could get with it, because all I could think of was how the Microsoft Surface Duo is better than it in every way, shape, and form. And I'm saying this unironically, and I actually want to systematically go through and talk about how this was so ahead of its time. So
it explodes and does 3 things in your hand.
Okay. Let me tell you how I use devices, and then you guys decide for yourself. Look, I'm an Apple person. Yeah, I like the ecosystem. I embrace the ecosystem. People are like, yeah, he's an iSheep. No, I think it works really well for me. I like to use an iPad. I design all of our studios around here. So I need a pencil, some sort of pencil input device.
Sure.
On the Z Fold, they said, I was mad they took away the pencil. And people are like, well, they did a study and said that only 1% of the 1% of people who use, whatever. If I'm using any type of tablet device, I need that pen. And so I tried to use a non-digital stylus.
No,
and it's not the same. And then I come back to thinking about this guy.
Can we actually talk about this? I would venture that a significant chunk of the audience has never seen this weird little Microsoft Surface thing.
So this is the second generation of the Microsoft Surface Duo. And I have said that this is probably the worst phone I've ever used, but it is the best tablet I've ever used.
This is originally meant to use a canceled version of Windows. I think it was 10X or something. And I will say that at the time when this thing came out, the hardware is and still is phenomenally thin and cool. But you can tell that this was designed to run Windows, and then they just slapped a version of Android on it later.
I've talked about this a lot, and we've had memes of how long since Matt's talked about this. This is the device that I've used the longest ever. I use the original.
Oh God, that is really nice hardware, isn't it?
Yeah. First of all, I want to get some gotcha journalism going on here. There's a slander going around.
A slander?
That this is the thinnest folding device ever.
I'll decide this really quick. Which one's thinner?
This is maybe a little bit, but
that's pretty close. Yeah.
Now the hardware in here is nowhere near what's in the Z Fold.
For context, this as a Windows device would have been super interesting, but they canceled that and instead they shipped a very half-baked build of Android.
The Android always sucked.
Yes.
So when I was using this, when you open it up, there's 2 screens on it. There is no back screens. You never knew where the phone was gonna, the software would bring up the actual phone icon, which sucks because there's only one spot to talk. Yeah. So if it brought it up on the other side, you're answer. But then when you're using it for productivity and tasks and stuff like that, the idea of having 2 screens is infinitely more usable than the folding larger screen.
Okay, well, hold on. Well, wait. No. If I want to use this as a regular phone, it works very, very well. When I open it up, I can use a giant app, or most of the time I'm running 2 apps side by side. The problem is that this is compromised in almost every way except for if you're running 2 apps at the same time. Because technically you can run 1 app across both screens, but it's not a good experience because you have such a big gap in the middle. It's really meant to run 2 things at the same time. And I understand that because it has 2 individual displays, they're actually real Gorilla Glass. So it's not a soft, sort of flexible OLED. But you can't tell me this was not a significantly more limited device compared to a foldable phone that has a better outer display and a far more usable inner display.
I can tell you that because that's my opinion. A comment we see a lot is just oh, they're biased one way or another. Yeah, because this is a podcast where we're talking about our opinions. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I don't watch a lot of videos or movies on my phone. I have a TV for that.
I watch so much video on my phone.
I don't do that. One of the things I want to do with the Fold was use this for my production phone. I use a lot of apps around here. Apps control our lights, stuff like that. The apps that I wanted to use in the full screen mode didn't work.
There's two ways of using the Z Fold, right? So obviously using the outer display, every single app I've tried works totally fine. When using the inner display, the inner display does work, but the problem is that the inner display, not all apps will stretch all the way. I will say 95% of the apps that I use stretch no problem.
Sure, but the ones I wanted to use didn't.
Yeah. To be fair, you're talking about mostly some weird specific production-y apps that like get updated every 5 years. Also, when they don't fill the whole screen, they fill like 3/4 of the screen. When that's a problem, just use it on the inner display or do the split screen. Just put it on one.
Like if you're gonna tell me like, oh, just don't use the big selling point of your phone.
So are you trying to honestly pitch me that instead of companies pursuing a folding phone, they should go back to literally just a dual screen phone like this? Is that really, I think, what you think is a better decision?
I think both have use cases. We have data that says I'm wrong.
I love when there's data that says you're wrong.
There's two companies that did this pretty heavily. One is the Duo and the other's LG. They did halfway with a case.
They shipped the dual screen cases with a couple of phones.
One of the things you always said you loved about the Z Flip is using it in like a laptop mode. This is the old hinge that's worn out and it still feels amazing. Feel the difference between like, tell me that's not Beef City.
I will give you that the Surface Duo hardware does still feel phenomenal. Like it really just has this incredible sense of heft to it. There were a lot of compromises though. I will say that like, both these devices not having an outer display is kind of okay. But the fact is like the first one didn't even really have a camera. It had like a single front facing camera, which looked like balls. Yeah, this one added a camera. So it actually has like a triple camera setup on the back. But the problem is when you open it, you've got this gap.
Yeah.
I mean, the camera bump was at least kind of angled a little bit, so it like snaps together nicely. There's a reason why the Z Fold has the most chonky camera bump of all time.
But like,
if you want to use the camera, it just takes space.
But like this here is absurd.
Which is why I almost always go screen down with a screen protector. That's fine.
In the Gen 1, it actually sucked. If this was decent, I'm not even asking for great. If it was decent and under the glass like this and flat, that would have been a trade-off I would have been fine with.
That was never meant to be a phone. That was meant to be a little Windows device.
Sure.
And then they like after the fact went, oh, we should make this phone.
When I talk about how I used to consume media with this, I would put like Netflix, Hulu, whatever up on one screen, playing my game on the other one. I did a lot of, when I talk about cloud gaming, this is what I was gaming on. It just felt good. It was an all-in-one media device. It's very versatile to me. I'm gonna be honest with you, I liked not having the screen on the outside. It's good for privacy. It's good for staying less distracted. It's hard to articulate into words. This feels like the best hardware I've ever held in my hand. One thing that some people might not like that I appreciated, it might be hard to see on camera here, but like it has fairly big chin and bezels. If we look at the Z Fold, you'll notice I have a pop socket on here. I am someone who does not like to have cases on their phone. Now in candy bar mode, it's fine.
Yeah.
But when you open it up, there's nothing to hold on to. And so like I felt like my thumb had to sit and cover most of the screen.
I will say though, when I'm using it in open mode, I'm almost always two-handing it.
I felt like I had to do the pop socket.
It's not a bad move. It's not a bad move, yeah. It's kind of like the iPad, right? The iPad still has bezels for the same reason. If you can actually put your thumbs on the side.
Using the Z Fold made me miss using the Duo. I think is crazy for hardware that came out 5 years ago to feel better than a 2025 flagship that's supposedly the best thing ever.
I agree. There are parts of the Duo that were ahead of their time. There are parts of the Duo that I love, and I will agree are better than the Z Fold. But you're bypassing the fact that these are phones that, first of all, were incredibly expensive. We're talking about like $1,400. I think for the first one, I don't remember what the Duo 2 was. It's super expensive.
It's like $1,500.
Yeah. The Z Fold is the ultra phone. There are essentially no compromises with this.
But how can you say that when there is compromise?
Okay, go ahead. What are the compromises?
No pen on there.
Okay, sure. Right, but I'm just saying, like, if you look at the compromises, this has performance. This has honestly pretty good battery life, especially if you're mostly using the outer display. I only open the inner display maybe like 5 or 6 times a day. Look, these are nice photos.
I'm not saying they're
very
bad.
Lovely.
I just think anything I've gotten on an iPhone is better.
I will say video is better on iPhone. Photos are in the same ballpark. But let me come back to the compromises on this. Okay, incredibly expensive. You know, same kind of ballpark, I would say, as a folding phone. The first one had essentially no camera. like a terrible front-facing camera. This one did fix it to a degree.
Yeah, to throw your own argument in front of you, this actually, from an ergonomic standpoint, this slightly, like, angled, made it so much more comfortable to write with the pen. I actually appreciated this. You can't sit there and tell me this bump is too big when this monstrosity is thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. But like
within the software, man, you can't get around the software.
The software got better, but like right. If something like this came back in the exact same form that it's in, don't change a thing hardware-wise and just improve the software in this. I think this is a legitimate contender against this. When I say I want choice in the marketplace, that's what I want. I don't think a Pixel and a Fold are really a choice. Microsoft has been doing some stupid things lately, and I think the stupidest was dropping support for this. I don't think you realize how much.
Oh, we get it.
Like especially the Gen 1 hardware.
The thing is, this was never designed as a phone. And you can see, it was designed as a little Windows device. And as a little Windows device, this would have been a killer little surface. The problem, though, is that it compromises on two of the most important parts of a foldable. Be able to use it on the outer display. It's a little heavy, but it's too wide to be like all that useful in that aspect ratio. And when you open it up, you can't really run an app across and you have this big gap in the middle. And if someone wanted to bring out another dual screen device like this, I think it could be somewhat successful. But I think foldables have come far enough that we've got the same thickness. We've got, I mean, a similar-ish price, and you've got a much more like well-rounded device.
What makes it more well-rounded though? The most thing you'd like realistically do with this, scroll Instagram, Twitter, or something like that, while also watching like TikTok.
If you want to use one app across both screens, it looks bad, right?
You don't do it that way.
No, but here's the thing. What I'm saying is a folding phone does not have that compromise. A folding phone looks good, open, closed, inside, outside.
This is the best the Crease has ever looked, but I'm still very aware of that.
Do you think that there is any future to a proper dual screen phone? Because no one's done it in a minute.
No,
right?
It's been years.
Because it's clear that Samsung, they're fully committed to foldables. Apple also seems like they're bringing out a foldable.
In my perfect little dream journal, it's this exact phone with iOS on it.
It's great to have this theoretical sort of vision, but who's going to do this? I can't think of anyone. Like, maybe Motorola to do something weird? This seems like it was a cool idea, but it didn't take off. It also was really underpowered. It was like a generation old by the time it came out, I think, or something. Like, there were a lot of problems with it first duo.
Microsoft could do this right now.
They're not.
I know they won't, because they gave up on it. I'm not saying that this thing sucks. Don't mince my words. I'm saying this sucks for Matt.
Sure.
For me specifically.
Well, you did try it.
I tried it.
What is it that the Fold lacks that made you bounce off it so hard? If you could use this for 5 years and you can use this for 3 days, what did you hate about the Fold?
How it feels in my hand.
So you like a wider aspect ratio? Because I mean, these displays are far wider.
See, you hold it like this. I almost always held it like this. This was enough for when I did watch videos. This was enough for when I was playing games.
So you used it exclusively as a multitasking device.
Yes, it just felt better in my hand. If we want to get really nitpicky with it, I don't like the super squared. The rounded edges felt more comfortable.
I find that not the sort of the front part of it, but like the back part where the hinge is, this is actually like almost a little sharp. Like I noticed sometimes in my pocket.
I don't get excited about a lot of things. And I don't think this is hyperbole. And I think I'm saying this with entire sincerity. When this got discontinued, a huge chunk of my enthusiasm for tech died.
I hate to say this to like blow your bubble. No, pop your bubble. There you go.
Blow my bubble, baby bird.
But like, this thing was DOA. Microsoft, I'm gonna be very honest, they never were really fully committed to Android. Like if this existed at a time where Windows Mobile or Windows Phone was a thing, I think this could have had a very different future. But as soon as they committed to doing Android, the whole thing became this weird like sort of phone thing where it should have been more like a tablet PC. It was so expensive, no one bought them. They committed to 2 generations probably entirely because they had already, by the time the first one was coming out, the second one was like half done. You shouldn't mourn the loss of it. You should be happy that you got to spend some time with this weirdo little phone.
What I'm mourning the loss of, like what I'm mourning, I found my perfect device and then a company just says, nope. And then we're never gonna bring it back again. I don't know, like it just feels like that sucks. You think, oh, something gets invented or something comes out and we're just gonna get a better that's what I feel like technology should be. This solved every problem I had with technology. Go through my camera roll. What do we got on here? Are these good photos? No.
Photos of your dog.
Photos of my dog. For my personal life, I don't need an amazing camera.
Sure.
I've never once needed a 200 megapixel camera. And like someone's be like, yeah, I take pictures of the moon exclusively. But like,
this would be the same feeling that I would have had if Samsung brought out the Z Flip 1 and they just said, never mind, we're just done. I would have been like, why didn't you like try to make this thing? Thankfully, they didn't, and we got generation of them improving it. This never got the opportunity to fully evolve. Look, Matt, bravo for trying something new. And all I could ever do is ask you to try something, right? It's not for you, it's not for you.
Look, I'm a picky eater, and people are like, well, just try it. I'm like, yeah, I tried it. I didn't like it. And I'm not telling you not to like something. I'm not telling you to like something. Coming back around. I think Microsoft was right all along, which is
wait.
troublesome to say in 2000.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, finish that sentence, please.
If they went for a V3, that's exciting to think of what would have happened. But they didn't, and now I'm sad. Like, follow, subscribe. Let us know what you think about phones. What are you using? What's in your pocket?
Not a Surface Duo, I'll tell you that.
Not a Surface Duo. There was dozens of us. Like, follow, subscribe. We'll catch you in the next one.
I've had to sneeze for like 15 minutes now.